Alright, hi everybody. Looks like we got ourselves a game. So this is TMTL America Division 2 final game. So we've got a runoff between Claybo, Donny Choate, and Nitro Storm for first place. And I think if FireX does well enough, they can finish in second or third. We've had a lot of really strong games this season, so I'm excited to see what they do here. If anybody can tell me if the music is way too loud or if my voice is way too loud, I sure haven't done this before, so we're just gonna see how it goes. So yeah, it looks like we've got expansion scoring on. Looking at greatest distance between structures. And let's take a look at the breakdown while they're looking at factions here. Okay, so let's see. Looks like we got 5-round towns. That could be a pretty strong scoring event. Tempo's last round, a little bit underwhelming. And looking at the cult rewards, looks like we got repeated cult rewards for fire. Some factions may be able to take advantage of that. Let's see what else. Alright, and on the pass tiles, what do we have? What are we missing here? So it looks like we're missing temp ship, spade, and big building tile. Definitely all tiles that some of these factions would like to start with. Alright, looks like we've got an alchemist first pick. Who threw an alchemist? Alright, FireX threw an alchemist here. Claybo throws in mermaids. So what are they seeing here on fjords? Alchemists. Let's see here. Alchemists can take advantage of that round 5 town scoring. I guess they'd be aiming for maybe a round 2 stronghold. Mermaids could certainly try to do some form of dwelling rush here, although without temp ship, I don't know exactly how strong that would be. Let's see what else. Sorry to scroll back and forth. I certainly don't have any fancy overlays here. So it looks like Dongy Choate puts in fakirs. It's interesting. Are landscapes on? Landscapes are on. Okay, so that helps fakirs a bit here, although it looks like the game does have a decent number of coins as well. So we're just waiting on this 4th pick. Let's see here. What else about the setup? Okay, so we can start to take a look at how round 1 might break. 4th seat. Depending on what gets picked for 4th seat, certainly mermaids will have the option to take one of the 3 power tiles in order to secure themselves double dig for round 1. Depending on what faction gets put in seat 4, they may not even need to. Boy, it'd be nice to scroll a little bit less here for you all. Get my act sorted here. Alright, Nitro's given a big think to which faction to throw in 4th seat. But it looks like the most desirable starting tiles here are Worker Power and Priest. And Mermaids would probably still want to take ship scoring for the power if they got blocked on worker power. Let's see. Alright, I guess we can start looking at opening placements. I'm largely familiar with fjords, probably not as much as I should be here. So let's see here. I know that for alchemists, this tends to be a pretty standard opening hex here. Which gives them a neighbor in fakirs. And then mermaids could make that a little bit awkward for them if they get blocked off. So we could be looking at, see if I can get fancy and change the color here. Oh, it looks like I just erased everything. Looks like we're still waiting on. Oh, and we've got a fourth pick here. I managed to freeze the screen for you all. Sorry about that. All right, so we've got a fourth pick. So we've got engineers, fakirs, mermaids, and alchemists. Looks like Firex and Claybo jump right on engineers. What does their game look like here? I'm guessing they take worker power. Okay, and we've got a bid on fakirs as well. Alright, so let's continue to look at opening placements. I'm going to stop trying to draw them here because I'm not sure if that freezes the screen. But in this setup, we've got mermaids and alchemists as color neighbors, engineers and fakirs without. So I imagine, if you can see my cursor here, I'm not great with hex numbers. Let's give it a try here. Always a little bit of an eyesore for me looking at hex numbers. Let's see here. What have I managed to do with layers here? Pardon. Okay. Got rid of that blue dot. So, see, engineers go further down here. Okay. So with this setup, I would imagine we'd have a little bit of a leech cluster around F4 here, which could be good for fakirs. Maybe that's what these players are seeing. Fakirs would certainly have at least one neighbor, probably 2 or 3 in that spot around F4. Other side of the map, probably similar. I imagine one way or another fakirs could start F4, E7. Here, there's 2 central hexes. And engineers would probably start G4, E8, maybe F6 if they're looking to get leech here. I guess let's look at the setup a little bit more in depth. It looks like we've got a decent number of points on the pass tiles. We've got ship scoring, dwelling scoring, and trading post scoring. The round scoring looks pretty strong. A lot of factions can take advantage of a lot of these events. A lot of folks can put up trading posts round 3 so they don't have to delay them further to get those points. And certainly round 5 town scoring can get very high scoring. Temples at the end's a little bit awkward. I'm trying to think. I guess some of these factions that end up going pretty big on network could end up needing to build temples to free up structures anyhow. So it looks like they've all decided alchemists are probably going to be the 40 faction, unless no one bids Claybo off of mermaids, but I can't imagine that would be the case. Let's see here. Again, if anyone can tell me if the volume of my voice versus the music is problematic at all, certainly chime in. And if anybody has any insights, please feel free to jump in. Casting with one person means it's going to be a little bit of a monologue otherwise. permeated by uncomfortable silences. Probably not. We'll try to avoid that. So we got further bidding on fakirs here. What would an opening plan here be in a little bit more detail for some of these factions? Let's see. So engineers are bid down, or I guess fakirs are bid down the lowest. Now let's take a look at what players are seeing here. I guess fakirs in third seat almost certainly end up with a priest. I can't imagine engineers would want that for any reason. I don't see any world in which engineers don't start on worker power unless I'm missing something. So fakirs starting with a priest means they can get down at least one dwelling easy first round, which is dwelling scoring. So they love that. They don't have color neighbors, which is certainly helpful, and fakirs are really strong on this map. It doesn't look like too many of their hexes are going to be terribly contested early on. Claybo's joking. Is Bailey his partner? Is Bailey... We don't know who Bailey is. I don't know who Bailey is. Interesting. They are waiting on Claybo to bid, so I guess Bailey's sleeping on the job here. Alright, so fakirs almost certainly get their opportunity to start on priest if they want to. Which means they're going to get out some dwellings first round. I guess the question here is, how ugly is this for alchemists, and how painfully long of an auction might this be? Alchemists in first seat. I mean, these are all stronger players than I am, but certainly I gotta figure engineers are gonna start with worker power. Fakirs start with the priest, which means mermaids, if they want to secure double dig, start with ship scoring. More talk about Bailey. No idea who that is. Alright, Claybo does bid on mermaids here. It looks like we're getting engineers bid down further. The question is how bad are alchemists here, right? So, starting round 1, if they're starting G5, probably have a decent number of neighbors, but they could get risk getting cut off on this sort of eastern edge of the left fjord by mermaids. That's also always a consideration here for engineers. Engineers, whenever there's blue in the game, particularly mermaids can start E4 and dig F3 on their first action in this case, which puts engineers in a little bit of an awkward spot. If they want to connect, I guess with landscapes on, they could go H3 and then end up building a land bridge to I4. But that requires a double dig on I5. It gets awkward. I wonder if there's a world in which engineers don't start G4 here. Temp ship is not in the game, but I guess engineers could start D1 and plan to upgrade shipping early. Focus on the Eastern Fjord to start. That would safeguard them against mermaids a little bit. Engineers are also in the unenviable position of being fourth to place dwellings, which means they get to see one placement from everyone, but they don't get to see any second placement before they place their second dwelling. It looks like engineers and fakirs are both being bid. Hey Ghostly, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. God, it must be late there. The time, I guess the time change makes it a little bit better. So I guess I'm curious what all the players see in engineers here. I guess dwellings round 1. I suppose they lock in at least the single spade. I gotta figure mermaids are taking the double spade here. round 2 big buildings. No trading post slate. I guess maybe mermaids and alchemists are just likely to get in each other's way enough with starting placements and digs that they look a little bit undesirable. Although I don't really see alchemists being too pesky for mermaids here. Regardless, looks like they all like engineers and fakirs quite a bit. So yeah, I guess the question is just how bad are alchemists here and how long of an auction are we in for? Because they look a little bit ugly to me. I don't know that I've played any games as alchemists on this map with mermaids in the game. Alchemists have this really nice sort of round the eastern fjord sequence where once they get up to 3 ship, they can take G8, E10, A10, C5 here, and certainly I8 and A6 are available there as well. It doesn't look like that scores a ton of points here. I mean, ship scoring's in the game, so they could certainly jump on that, but that would usually be like a round 2 type of play, maybe 3, depending on what else you're doing. And those rounds don't score dwellings either. Yeah, landscapes are on. So we're looking at landscapes on, expansion scoring for greatest distance on as well. So I guess I haven't talked about that at all. It sure is hard to remember that. Not for these folks, obviously. They're all consummate professionals, but for someone like myself. So what kind of greatest distance considerations are there here? I mean, fakirs have a couple of natural yellows that they can get to here on G1. Can't imagine that would be contested at all on the map to A12. So maybe that explains some of the bidding on fakirs. They also have this bottom corner I10, which there's a number of hexes up here they could dig for maybe 2 or 3 short of the longest distance. Alchemists could end up with a decent great distance as well. Let's see what that would look like. I guess same with mermaids. I'm not really sure how that looks for engineers, frankly. I don't understand all these engineers bids myself, but I'm sure there's something that I'm missing here. Their starting looks a little bit underwhelming. I mean, they get work of power, so I guess they start double temple and then rush for double spade. Round 2? I don't know. But we do have a lot of factions that are going to be competing for network here. I mean, alchemists, assuming they connect, which on this map, you would imagine that they're going to be able to, unless they get really cut off by mermaids or something. Alchemists, you know, you assume that they're going to be able to win network, unless they play some kind of funky game or play really suboptimally. But engineers and fakirs can also go huge network. Fakirs, this map helps them out, and with engineers, if they can get enough spades, I mean, they don't have any color neighbors, that certainly helps too. So I guess again, like looking more in detail, I guess I should look more in detail at starting locations. I tend to not do that to the extent that I should here. All right, so fakirs are certainly starting one of these 2 places. F4 looks pretty good to me for Leech. I imagine mermaids would be starting on E4 one way or another, because otherwise it makes things a little bit too easy on engineers for F3 here. Particularly if Claybo ends up on mermaids, which he seems to like to play mermaids quite a bit. He also tends to play a little bit blocky and aggressive in securing hexes. Also a really creative player. Has had a lot of really interesting lines that I at least haven't foreseen in some of these games. I should mention this is the division that I played in. I was seeded as far and away the lowest seed here, and this is my bye week for these guys. So I've been able to play with them and get pretty well spanked by them in a number of instances. But in any case, I digress. So let's see. So I would imagine that Fakirs would want to start F4 and then E7. I mean, I'm trying to think what other options they'd even want to consider. H5, again, I guess it sort of depends on where Mermaids and Alchemists go, but they're not going to get to see... The Fakirs won't see Alchemists or Mermaid's second placement before they get to place their second dwelling. Again, I gotta figure engineers are looking at G4 here, despite being able to get cut off on F3 by Mermaids. So we'll see how it breaks. And then for Alchemists, G5, G8 tend to be pretty standard starting locations. Yeah, thanks, Weber. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, it's a D3, but it's a really strong division. I mean, I was looking at... I mean, I'm biased in saying that because I had to play against these guys. But, I mean, between FireX, Claybo, I mean, they've all spent some time in the top 100 recently. Like, top 100 sort of all-time on BGA. And, I mean, I think Claybo was over 700 ELO on his old account. I mean, and Nitro was up over 600 recently, too. So, I mean, it's a really strong table for D2, which I guess speaks to how strong D1 and the Premier League are, obviously. Yeah, Claybo, I think Claybo in this division, I think it's his to lose. I almost hate to say it, but he was seeded in this division. I think this account that he's playing on is still kind of has not plateaued to what do I try to say, to sort of like reflect his actual elo, his actual ability. I don't think his elo reflects his ability. Yeah, there's no temp ship in. I'm having trouble with the... This is the first time I've streamed. I'm having trouble with the kind of getting everything in the screen at once here. And zooming in and out doesn't seem to really be doing much. Is that a little bit better? Now we've got awkwardly... Oh, don't love that. We've got awkwardly big hex numbers here. This is a little bit better. I guess you can kind of see the whole setup here. So there's no temp ship. Now we can't see the bidding. What's going on? What is happening? Okay. Hot take from Weber. Sometimes this dumb stuff passes without using strong ability. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like I am missing something on NGs, but I mean, I guess their round 2 doesn't look terrible, even though they're not scoring big buildings unless they do something weird like go Sanctuary. I mean, they get worker power. They're going to be able to start worker power. I don't see any way these tiles break other than engineers taking worker power, Fakirs taking priest, and then mermaids taking ship scoring, so that they can secure double dig. I mean, unless mermaids jump on coins thinking that for some reason that, I don't know, if there's some plan that I don't see in terms of like a quick pass, something round 2, but again, Claybo's on mermaids, and he sort of seems to have been bidding mermaids consistently here, so if he starts on them, I wouldn't be surprised if he does something that isn't double dig, or if he starts double dig somewhere we don't expect it. Mermaids take Act 6, Engies get single spade. Oh, the favor names. I don't know the favor names. Which one's favor 7, Weber? That's got to be Earth 2, right? Yeah, Earth 2. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess that does look pretty good then. And they've got nothing but space to expand in. I mean, they'll probably lose F3, but still. I still got plenty of space, so I mean, I guess I sort of get it. I gotta say, y'all, bidding feels endless when you're the person streaming and when you're only one person talking. But this is interesting. I mean, I guess curious for people's takes on just how bad alchemists are here. They look pretty bad to me, but I mean, they are quite good on this map. I mean, they've got that sort of ring around the rosy going on the eastern fjord. I wonder if there's any world in which they start G3 here. Maybe they could do something like G3, G8. That would mean they'd have to connect through. They'd have to secure some of these hexes to connect, maybe C4 or B3 to connect through. That seems risky. That feels risky to me. I feel like Fakirs will want to fly to C4. They might be able to beat them to that. Alright, so they continue giving this a think. So right now we're looking at engineers and Fakirs both on 23. Mermaids on 28, and alchemists still on 40. I wonder if anyone's considering jumping on alchemists here. They're starting past tiles so bad. Like, what are they doing? Are they starting on TP scoring so that they can get just the one worker? Is that worth it? Maybe they plan for a priest action to throw to fire? I mean to water? It doesn't seem that good. Engis aren't on G4, then Alki can start G5 and take I2, wait to connect. G5 here, take an I2, wait to connect. Interesting, okay. So Weber, if Engis don't start G4, where do they start? Do they just go D1, E8? I feel like I've seen that a bunch of times, but without temp chip, it looks a little bit rough. I guess that doesn't matter. D1, E8, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, Fjords is not. I've played mostly base map. I mean, I'm not nearly as experienced as these guys are. Probably most of y'all watching. So I've played Fjords a decent amount, but I don't know all of the starting metas. What are the bids looking like? This is a long auction. Alright, but we got Claybo still sitting on mermaids. Hyrax just giving this a think. I wonder if he is considering jumping on alchemists here. Round 5 towns is pretty high scoring. Greatest distance for alchemists looks pretty strong too. I can't imagine A11 is going to be contested by anyone, unless mermaids beat them to I7. That is a really long distance. Plus, alchemists, you got to figure they're going to end the game with upgraded ship and upgraded digs to make that pretty easy. I guess engineers are really the only faction here that doesn't look great for me for greatest distance. I'm not really sure. I guess something like C1 to F9, H1 to C9. None of those look that natural for them, and they're going to struggle for spades here, I guess. So there's no spade pass tile, so no spade bonus tile, but we do have 2 different spade bonuses. You know, Engis will certainly be able to take advantage of the round 5 spade bonus since it's Earth. I don't know if throwing Priest to Air is going to make a whole lot of sense, and they are going to need to save up some Priests to advance shipping here. Particularly with Fakirs and Mermaids looking to contest in here. I mean, E5 and B5 for Fakirs. B4, D2 potentially for Mermaids. It looks a little bit dicey for engineers to me. But what do I know? Engis supposed to seed F3, G4 to Mermaids, whoever says. F3, G4. Engi Mermaids swap seeds, Alchemist is much worse here. Okay. So if Engis are in second seat, yeah, I guess then Alchemists can't cut through eventually to connect. Yeah, because unless Fakirs get fancy and end up taking G4 for some kind of town in here, which seems completely unnecessary and inefficient, and yeah, Alchemists will be able to cut through without engineers there. So perhaps that'll spare us from a terribly longer auction. What else can we talk about here? Color rewards. Or cults in general. I guess none of these factions are cult factions. We've got early water bonus. Oh, and we've got a game. Alright, so what do we got here? We've got Claybo jumps on Alchemists at 40. I'm gonna adjust this as the 40 faction. We've got Fire Axed on Mermaids at 27. Dongi Chote on Fakirs at 20, and Engineers on Nitro and Engineers at 21. So I think this is the last game actually that Nitro played Engineers 2. Played a really pretty game. Just a big econ. Hit bonus tiles well. Really, it was a nice game to watch. Okay, so we'll see how this goes. Alright, so Claybo starts off with a placement on G8 in the east here. And then we'll get to see all the other placements before deciding where to put the next, his second dwelling. I'm still very curious. I'm curious what Claybo's plan is here. It's kind of exciting actually that he ended up on Alchemist here at 40. I wonder if he got something creative up his sleeve. I don't know what bonus tile you'd even start on. And Firex says that he was looking to jump on Alchemist as well. I mean, they might be a deal here. It's starting 20, almost 20 to 15 to 20 points up on everyone else. Being able to have that nice 3 shipping path to getting all dwellings out could be really strong. Yes, Alchemists start. I feel like in high level play, Alchemists usually either start Earth 1, Earth 2, or Stronghold. I don't see much of a case for starting Stronghold here. There's a lot of creative lines you could take. I guess it might depend on where Mermaids place as to what Claybo decides to do. But with Stronghold round 2, I can't imagine. Yeah, right. They could also go double Temple. We could see like an Earth 1, Earth 2 situation, or even double Econ, given the fact that we've got greatest distance here. Yeah. I mean, maybe we see a Water 2 Alchemist. That could always be fun. The cults could be wide open. I mean, I'm trying to think of who's going to want to take advantage of these cult rewards and who's going to have Priest to throw around. There is no temp ship tile in the game. Mermaids look like they probably will want to exploit that shipping tile. I mean, I guess it'll be a little bit contested from Alchemists. But I can't imagine there's going to be a ton of priests on the cults early on here. Alright, so we see most of the other starting placements. We've got D1, E4, F4 here. Straight line down, a diagonal line down the western fjord, pretty much as expected. And then over on the other side, we've got E7 from Gears in the middle here, and E8 from Engineers in the middle here. So that all looks pretty usual. Firex is debating where to put dwelling number 2 here. Yeah, interesting. I was wondering if he'd do that. So Firex placed himself right in the middle of this leech triangle here, or this leech, I don't know what shape that would be, but some shape. So I imagine that first action he's going to go F8 here. Yeah, I guess for Mermaids, this seems to just open up G5 for Alchemists in a way that seems pretty good for them. Yeah. Yeah. Whoever says great for Alki, I agree. I wonder if Claybo had some other ideas, or maybe if he's just running down his clock. Do some more planning. Yeah, so I guess Mermaids are placed on F7 looking to sort of maximize Leech. One way or another, they're in the middle of a Leech party. So depending on whether folks upgrade east or upgrade west, there's a lot of power to be had in it. And mermaids are almost certainly digging F8 first action. And so since they're going for, assuming they're going for double dig, that would be F3, F8. I kind of hate hex numbers, but it is really useful, huh? C5 is nice here, Weber says. If you open priest, you have everything you need for temple and 3 dwellings. C5. Ooh. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, okay. So I'm sure Klebo sees it too then, and he's considering that. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so Klebo starts with a temple on G8 in first seat. He'll get not a ton of leech, but he'll at least get leech from mermaids on F8, and then with their eventual temple upgrade. This looks pretty good for him, yeah. So it looks like alchemists can just go Earth 1. There's no risk of them losing it in first seat here. You take priest action, go Earth 1, and then advance ship to get out I8 and A6 here. Alright. So, and we've got the pass tiles. So, as expected, we've got engineers on worker power. Again, that's Nitro. We've got Dong Hichot on. Yep, Klebo goes first action priest. Yeah, good call, but that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean it does make towns a mess, but he can figure out towns later. I'm sure this is a 3-town alchemist game no matter what. So, okay, as expected, mermaids take the double spade, F8. It's got to be F3 here. Yeah. So I'm sure they'll build F8. Really make sure to absolutely lock that in. And then get the leech from alchemists when they upgrade. And from engineers when they upgrade, assuming they upgrade east as well. Yeah. So everybody's upgrading east here. Big old leech party. And I feel like scores are going to be very high this game. I wonder if anyone will break like 170, 180 maybe. We'll see. Yeah, to finish the thought, so fakirs are on a priest right now, and an alchemist ended up going for 4 coins and a cult step. So I guess Klebo might just. I guess Klebo's going to bump fire, probably get a bonus worker 1 round out, or just use it for tempo and forego it if for some reason getting the early pass makes a lot of sense. Maybe for a double spade if he gets enough. Can't imagine he's getting enough power for that. So okay, so we'll see how this goes. I'm curious to see what else Klebo's got here. He'll end round 1 with temple, 3 dwellings, which is really solid, and then I guess it's just 2 more shipping to be able to get all the way around there. All right, so Nitro's having to think. I'm imagining that Nitro on Engis here is considering whether to take the spade or whether to upgrade E8. Because upgrading E8 sure does ensure a lot of leech. Doesn't really need the workers, has enough workers to open with everything. Sure, he's just imagining, trying to figure out what the other players will do. So who else is threatening the spade? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just fakirs that would be threatening the spade here. So if Nitro upgrades E8 here, if NG's upgrade E8, yeah, he does go for the spade. That makes sense. That seems like a safe play. Again, he's really got a lot of space to work with here, on the east at least. D4 is going to be uncontested if he can get a double dig in maybe next round. D6, then it's 1 shipping to get to A7, C9, F9. There's a lot of good stuff that could come out of that. Let's see. Alright, so it passes back to Klebo here. So we think he's going to use that priest upgrade ship. And actually the 4 coins he started on then pays for that immediately. So I don't see what he does other than upgrade G8 here. But he's given it a think. Maybe there's something we're missing. Yeah, we got an upgrade on G8. So I think everyone's just going for their temples here. I think the question is, do fakirs end up prioritizing a workers action here to try to get double temple out? Or do they just stick with the power? Oh, interesting. Okay. So fakirs throw a priest to fire, which gives them worker bonuses. I like this. Yeah, this looks nice. They throw priest to fire. I gotta figure that they're going to be taking. They're getting a bunch of leech. If they take the workers, they can start double temple. Yeah. Okay. I imagine fakirs might have thrown that priest to fire round 2. I don't think there's any risk of them losing that, but that looks pretty good. It pays back in round 4 as well. Okay, interesting. All right, so Claybo's sitting on G8 here. Mermaids have not committed to where they're upgrading their temple yet, but since they're in second seed, I imagine F8 looks pretty good to sort of maximize elite, or even F7, honestly. That might be better. Yeah, interesting. I do wonder why they built F3. Yeah, so they're upgrading away from the Leech Party. I guess they're getting enough power for everything they need round 2 anyways. They have burned down to 6 power tokens, or kernels, excuse me, 6 power kernels. Yeah, interesting. I mean, this might be just a masterful start from FireX here, or it could be a little bit of a blunder. I don't hate it. F3, yeah, because he's gonna get 2 more leech from E8. Yeah, okay. All right, so what have we got here? Fakirs and Alchemists both got their favorite tiles. Alchemists went Earth 1. Fakirs went Air 2. Pretty much what you'd imagine. Actually, you know what? Fakirs, this is looking like interesting culty Fakirs here. They are going to benefit from the round 3 cult digs as well. Yeah, okay. Alright, so we see engineers take coins and burn down to 6 power tokens as well. Interesting. So with coins, they've got enough to do double temple, so they'll definitely end 2 temples, 1 dwelling this round. I guess they were just afraid of having the longest round and getting blocked on coins on the pass. So maybe they've got I don't know what they got in mind on round 2. I guess they do need a lot of coins to upgrade ships. Alright, so Fakir's pass. So we've got an early pass from Fakirs here. Which, I mean, that doesn't look bad at all. They're going to have 1 flight in them. They're going to be able to secure the double spade for sure. They're going into the second round with 4 workers. What's that, 14 coins? And even more leech coming in, right? Okay. Alright, so what have we got? We got an Earth 1 pull from Alchemists. We've got Earth 2 from Engineers, Fire 1 from Mermaids. This all is pretty standard stuff, like kind of what you'd imagine. Particularly Fire 1 from Mermaids is given a game with the ship VP tile. Interesting, okay. Alright, so now FireX is up. Seems to have not a whole lot to do other than pass. Unless he wants the workers for some reason, which I can't imagine. But he's having to think anyways, so I guess in this case it would be he's passing. I'd imagine he'd want to pass on to the priest. I mean, there's a lot of value. Yep, there's the pass. There's a lot of value in getting early priest to cults here, because other than what Fakirs have already kind of claimed, they do look pretty wide open. And other than round 4, cult rewards do look pretty good. Okay, so they pass on to dwelling scoring. I guess they need the coins, and they'll score a decent number of points from that. Alright, so Nitro upgrades as expected here. So Engineers will end this round with 2 temples to dwelling. Solid. I figure they're locking up Earth 1 here. Yeah. Alright, so we got NGs starting with Earth 1, Earth 2. Alchemist starting with Earth 1. Mermaid starting with Fire 1. And Fakir starting with Air 2. So the big question is, who's going to get Earth 1 blocked here? Or do they even care? So for anyone who didn't see the setup or who is joining after this was discussed, I wish there was a way to get all this in the screen at once. There is expansion scoring on this game, and there's also landscapes on this game, which help a number of these factions out, or I guess really mostly Fakirs. All right, so we're about to go into round 2, but that's just to say all of that favors a more heavily economic game, a more heavily economic play here, which part of that is certainly favored tiles. What have we got? Okay, so going into round 2, we've got Fakirs up first. They've got the double spade available to them. They're sitting on a boatload of coins. So I guess it's just a matter of where they dig. E5 looks pretty good if they think it's going to be under threat from engineers coming up here. D3 could help maximize leech over on this side eventually. I don't know. So on fjords, I feel like this can be a pretty good. This E7 cluster over on the eastern fjord can be a pretty good sanctuary town for Fakirs, and they certainly won't be hurting for neighbors here. So taking D3 and E6, if not now, eventually, can help to secure that. Okay, Fakirs take coins. Oh, you know what? No one else is threatening the double dig. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Wow, so they've got so many resources here. So Fakirs, despite having a slow round 1, are going to have a pretty monster round 2 here, I think. They can still get double spade. They've got a flight in them. I mean, hell, they could even probably take workers and with 2 temples. If they're able to take workers and double dig, which they have the power for as long as they don't get blocked, they could end this round with 2 temples, 2 dwellings, and a landscape, I think. I mean, that looks pretty good for them. I think they have the coins for that. So the power situation is a little awkward here. Nitro, what happened here? Oh, okay, I missed it entirely. Okay, so that's what happened. So Fakirs did not take coins. That makes so much more sense. Fakirs threw a priest to air. Got them some power, got them a huge lead in air. I love this culty Fakirs that we're seeing. It is going to help them with round 3 airspeed. Hey Nerdcube, thanks for tuning in. So let's see. Yeah, so Fakirs throw the priest to fire, priest to air, and then mermaids end up with the coins, which looks pretty good for them. That makes a lot more sense. That makes a lot more sense. Or if you're not used to streaming, it takes some getting used to. Alright. So let's get caught up here. So for anyone who's just joining, we've got pretty standard stuff. I can't keep up with everything's happening. Okay. So Fakirs take workers, and it looks like they will have enough to double temple, double dig. Wow, what a nice round. So they're going to be able to double dig, get down 2 dwellings, and one of them with a flight, and then get down their landscape, which is great for them. And then I imagine they'll take Earth 1 with their temple. Engineers have single spade at their disposal if they want it. No one's really threatening that on power. Yeah. Fakirs would want priest and a double dig. Oh, interesting. So 2 flights. Yeah, okay. With 2 flights on Fakirs, that they would end up over on C7, I guess. But yeah, I don't think that they have the power for that anymore since they committed to the workers. Yeah, okay, so we see an early sanctuary from mermaids for Earth 1. So I guess Firex is really prioritizing that favorite tile. Okay. Yeah. Alright, well, so I guess maybe that's partly an anti-Fakirs move. I mean, Fakirs look pretty good here. Yeah, and they were bid down to Nerdcube. They were bid down to, I think, 23. So the starting bids here were something like 23, 22 for engineers, Fakirs. Mermaids were somewhere between that and 40. Sure don't remember. I think they were like at 25, and then Alchemists were the 40 faction. Claybo's already sitting on a boatload of points here. I feel like I've been ignoring his round entirely. So he's on 1 ship. He can afford a priest action if it comes back around to him. He is next to act. But that only gets him to 2 ship, which doesn't really help him out this round. He's got an awkward neighbor situation. So I wonder if Alchemists are looking for an early pass here. I guess an early pass onto a priest would get them to that 3 ship. So it's a little bit awkward. But he does have 50 points right now. Oh, I see. Yeah. Alchemist could stronghold. Yeah, it's so ingrained in my brain that, like, you've got to upgrade next to people early game or you're throwing it away. But with Alchemist, it's just 3 points. Like, upgrading an expensive trading post, it's just 3 coins, which is 3 points for them. So yeah, he can get, wow, so he can hit the round bonus, the scoring favor this round. If he upgrades, maybe he upgrades C5 or even I8. I'm not sure what he'd want to do. I guess maybe I8, so that's more likely to become a town, depending on what mermaids do. Or I guess, yeah, I8 is part of a bridge town with G8 no matter what. Unless Fakirs get a little bit frisky. Wow, okay, so Claybo's going to get... Claybo's going to use that priest... If he wants the strongholds this round, which would score him 5 points and get him power and some crazy econ come in, he's going to have to use that priest as a worker, I believe, right? So the priest grab is just tempo considerations and blocking anyone else from potentially taking it. I guess in this case it would just be Fakirs. Does that make sense? Sorry, getting caught up on chat here. On this map, building your stronghold in a more strategic location, town-wise, super clutch. Yeah, so I'm curious. This map is not as familiar. I mean, I guess it's maybe my second most familiar map, but I'm still lacking some experience here. So I'm imagining that town location-wise, that's got to be I8 with the stronghold. I guess alchemists have tempo on D3 over mermaids potentially, but that doesn't seem worth it. A6 on this map for Darklings and Alchemists. Okay, so he goes C5, so he's going to be able to do Stronghold C5. A6 always strikes me as a little bit awkward here, because everything around it is a triple dig. For black on this map, that is. With Engies in the game, or Dwarves in particular, I guess they're not close to that yet, but with Engies and Fears in the game, they want all those hexes as well. Oh, I love it. Oh, you love to see it. Alright, so Fakirs went... Look at all these big buildings. Maybe big building round 2 is just a call for all sorts of weird play. So we've got round 2 Sanctuary Mermaids to lock up Earth 1. And we've got round 2 Stronghold Fakirs, which I don't know if it's good. but it's amazing. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, Dongchot is one of the players in this game who could win the league. Definitely kind of the lowest rated player. I don't know. I don't know how many other than me. Again, I was in this division, but I was seated. I was. It was they were all playing way out of my league. But Dongchot had actually a really nice cultist win on Fjords earlier this season. Started something like F2 and got really creative with a town up in the top left here. So this is certainly a creative play from Fakirs here. Just love to see so many big buildings coming out. Yeah, Stronghold Fakirs. I still maintain. Whoever says he's hoping it was one of these underrated things, the Stronghold Fakirs. I still maintain that Stronghold Chaos Magicians were probably not underrated, but I just want it to be good so badly. I feel like Chaos Fakirs are some of these factions where you just want their stronghold to be better than they are. Although I'll point out, anyone who doesn't know this, because I didn't until recently, that the Fakir's stronghold, instead of providing power, does provide priest income. So Dongachot is sitting on 2 priest income. That's about all he's got going for income right now. He's got 3 worker income, 2 of which are coming from cults. So I don't know about all this. All right, but I'm getting behind on stuff here. Okay, so it looks like mermaids. Did mermaids take double dig again? They must have. Yeah, mermaids claimed double dig here, so maybe that's why Fakirs had to pivot. Yeah, I mean, 10 coins for the stronghold is just so expensive for Fakirs. All right, so mermaids have a ton of hexes open to them, and they're sitting on Earth 1, and a lot of resources going to this round. So Fire-Xed, the Sanctuary looks a little weird, but it's I don't hate his position here. The only problem is mermaids. I don't think mermaids are competing for network here, and expansion scoring is on. All right, so we've got a couple of passes. I haven't talked about these at all. So going into round 3, which is a trading post round, we've got engineers passed first onto the trading post tile. That might be more of a worker consideration than it is a points consideration. We'll see. Fakirs are in seat 2. They passed on to coins. Firex is saying in the chat that he didn't expect the Fakir stronghold. I'm not sure any of us did. But again, you do love to see it. So Claybo, after building the stronghold, has 6 power to play around with. I wonder if he's debating what pass tile to take or just debating whether power action makes any sense right now. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, ending this round with a priest action for alchemists would look pretty good. Okay, so he ends up taking a spade. Yeah. Yep, mermaids left G9 hanging, and alchemists give it a dig. They could secure it too. Oh yeah, they've got their landscape available to them now, so of course they'll secure it. Yeah. Wow. Oh, and that's gotta hurt. Oh, that's gotta hurt. Okay. And then Claybo passes on to ship scoring. So this is looking pretty good for Claybo with a sizable points lead. Not that it really matters this early. So Nitro's a little bit awkwardly short of the double dig. Unfortunately, don't know if he was hoping for more leech or if it just wasn't going to happen anyways. His leech position isn't great. But he takes the first priest to Earth, which is great for color reds. Yeah, these cults are interesting. I mean, the fire rewards are great for fakirs and alchemists here, but I feel like it's pretty rare to see the game with 3 priests to fire to start. I mean, I feel like usually you see other rewards being cults being fought over. Yeah, yeah. So Claybo had enough power to build another dwelling last round. He could have like hard converted a 3 power to a worker. I wonder if he either didn't see it or for some reason, um, if he's thinking about a certain power action he's going to take this turn. He's already upgraded to 2 ship. He has enough priest to upgrade to 3 ship. All right, so we see Fakir's take the double dig, which, expected, but still hurts for NGs. So we might see NGs go 3 rounds here without any double digs. They're going to have free reign over the single dig. I can't imagine Alchemists give an iota of a shit about that. Um, so Fakirs do get down their flight school, which it looks like they desperately need the coins, so that's good. They get a couple points from the flight too. Yeah, NGs look rough, Weber. I agree. Yeah, so Alchemist's start looks really strong here. I mean, they've got getting the temple and the stronghold that looks so good, and now they've got ship scoring that they're sitting on. They're going to be passing for 9 points there. I mean, they've got some coins too. Like they're up to 3 ship, and they're not even having to burn too many points for this. And plus, they've got the 6 coin income from the stronghold coming in, so they'll be able to easily secure E10, A10 here if they want them. Not that those are under threat. It really looks like. Um, and on top of that, they're going to build. They could build one or two. They could build one or two trading posts and score for those this round. Although they might not want to bother killing their worker income there. So let's see. Claybo used the yeah. Claybo got down the gloomy workshop here. Chose to upgrade just ship, not digs. That makes sense. Obviously, probably doesn't want to burn those. There's no reason to get those workers burned this early. All right, so everyone's just sort of building out their dwellings here. Yeah, this game might be end up a little bit lopsided here because engineers look really rough for their lack of double digs, and their leech situation is just so rough starting on D1. I mean, there goes some leech right there. So I guess particularly Firex is going for another temple here, but I can't imagine. I mean, you gotta get that worker income up, right? But yeah, I mean, all's that to say, um, it just looks like to me like engineers and mermaids are just between getting cut off from their hex over on G9 for mermaids and for engineers not getting the double dig in the first 3 rounds. They just both look to be in a little bit awkward spot. They're both really strong players. They might have a way to come back from it. Um, mermaids are still sitting on a lot of coins, so that I guess is worth something. I don't know, but it looks like Claybo's running away with this, and Fakir's just don't have any resources. Maybe they're in an even worse spot than mermaids, honestly. But engineers have managed to get their shipping up, so they've got uh, they can at least build out some dwellings. Maybe now they've got a neighbor for some trading posts up there. Now that Fakirs have flown up to C8. Yeah, good to see you. I mean, thanks for tuning in, NerdCube. Yeah. Okay, sorry, catching up on chat. So Weber's saying alchemists want second temple for water one. Skip the sanctuary this game. So single TP this round. That makes sense. So single TP for the points while they can. And then A10 for the dwelling. That leaves them with 5 worker income, 1 worker in hand. All right, well, they commit to A10 and we'll see what happens. But yeah, Claybo's just sitting on so many points and his position's really nice here. The one thing I will say about Alchemists here, they've got a lot of browns and now blues open to them in the sort of eastern half of this map, but it doesn't look like they're getting to the western half of this map at all this game. Oh, the more I look at it, the more mermaids just look really ugly here. Yeah, that G9 take by Alchemists here on the lower right just looks really rough for mermaids. I mean, mermaids will be able to get out of town here. So they've got tempo on the first town if they want it. by building a dwelling on G2. Two Key Town, what does Two Key Town look like for them? If they're rushing to town, I gotta imagine it'll be the Two Key, or maybe in their current position, maybe they want like I don't know what they want. Maybe they want a priest upgrade ship. I don't know what 2 ship gets them either, to be honest. It looks rough. It does look rough for them. But I imagine we might see a G2 dwelling for mermaids here for Two Key Town. It's going to end up getting them a decent amount of cult points. And in terms of rewards, it doesn't actually get them that many cult rewards. If they get a priest of fire to earth next round, I guess it gets them the power from fire. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what his plan is. Two Key Town, priest to air. Yeah, yeah, I could see that. I guess he's got power for after taking the Two Key Town. That does give him enough power for some cult presence. Yeah. So then, if Fire X manages to do that, it's potentially a win on 2 cults, a decent amount of cult rewards, maybe two spades and 4 power out of the whole thing. Yeah, that makes sense. Plus, it takes 2 Key Town away from the table, which is, I feel like, always maybe half the reason why you do it. All right, so we see the first pass here from Fakirs, who once again will have enough power for the double spade. Not that they took it each round, but I think they've passed with tempo on double spade most rounds here. Okay, so Fire X, I mean, still has tempo on first town if he wants it. Passes second for dwelling scoring. Should point out round 4 is a dwelling round. So who's set up well for a dwelling round here? Fakirs have double dig come in their way if they want it, and they've got their flight school down. So 6 coins in hand. I think that with 6 coins, yeah, Fakirs will be able to get down 4 dwellings, no problem here. They can dig C7 to get access to a flight to A4. Excuse me, A8. They've already got access to A4, and they could dig H4 here. They could do a flight with H4. I guess the double dig you can only fly once, but I think they can get 3 or 4 dwellings out, no problem. Plus some flights. I mean, that'll help make up these points. I don't love their coin situation. All right, we got some Claybo wildcard action. Hard digging G6. That's interesting. We're not even in the dwelling round yet, but I guess Claybo wants to lock that in. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. I'm trying to think. I guess he anticipates the Fakir's flight to H5. And so getting some extra leech, getting a neighbor, obviously gives him access to G5, which I imagine he'll build now. Yeah. Yeah, there goes G5. I mean, even with a dwelling round 4, there's no use worrying about getting those extra points. If you're playing Alchemist, I mean, he's sitting on 7 power, 7 worker income. That's probably better than holding off of the points. Plus, he's got the last pass here. Not sure if that's worth anything to him. Let's see. So going into the next round, we're at the halfway point in the game here. Now, you know what? The music died at one point, didn't it? Let's see here. All right, so we've got everyone passed here. You know what? Got the music going again. We're at the halfway point of the game. This is as good as any time for a bathroom break for me. I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. So we've got round 4 starting with dwelling scoring. And we've got 2 players starting this round with full power bowls, essentially 3, 1 without. Okay, so Dongichot takes a flight instead of taking the double spade. Which could be a heads-up play. So engineers do have the power for a double dig here, but unless they want to double dig D4. No, you know what? He's got 1 shipping, so I guess it's interesting. I would have thought the Fakirs wanted the double spade here. Oh, you know what? They got when I was stepped away, I forgot that they got the cold spade on D6. So with the single spade, I guess that's still 1, 2 more flights. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he's thinking here. Then for anyone who needs any catching up, we've got landscapes on, which I guess you can already see because Alchemists got theirs down fairly early. We've got expansion scoring, greatest distance, which nobody seems like they've really done too much work on yet. I guess Fakirs are starting to make their way to the edges. Yeah, you know, I do wonder about Alchemist's ability to get greatest distance here. And for favorite tiles, we've got kind of what you'd expect. Engineers have Earth 1, Earth 2. Alchemists started off with Earth 1. That's what they're working with right now. Mermaids got Fire 1, and then actually Sanctuaried round 2 to hit the scoring tile and to secure Earth 1. And then Fakirs have Air 2. Which is giving them a lot of good passing tempo. A lot of good starting power situations to start rounds here. And it's gotten to help them get a co-reward as well. Alright, so we see Klebo take H4 with the dig. So that's not an option for Fakiris if they wanted it even. So maybe Klebo will eventually be digging his way across. Yeah, so he's probably eyeing... One way or another, Klebo's looking to make his way to I1 this game. And then I1, maybe A11. He'll have a lot of options for greatest distance. Wow. Yeah, this game doesn't look very close, does it? Looks like Klebo's running away with it. Okay, so what else did we see? Okay, so we saw Engineers upgraded ship to 2. And are still sitting on enough power for the double dig. Let's come back around to Fakirs here, who opted to take a bridge rather than digging. Interesting. What bridge pressure is there? I guess there is a decent amount of bridge pressure in this game. It's possible that Engineers will want bridge over here. Oh, Engineers just still have so much work to do. So much work to do. They need that spade pretty badly. I think they're really hoping for Fakirs. Yeah. Yep, so no undo. So Fakirs commit to the bridge. Engineers get their double spade. Yeah, so Firex's position doesn't look great, but he is building out some more dwellings here. Has enough workers that he could build a dwelling on G2 and then hard dig somewhere if he wanted to. So he's on 2 ship. I guess he can reach I2, I3 if he thinks that blocking makes any sense. Yeah, nice. Okay. So Engineers take double spade. They hit C3, which you'd imagine in terms of getting out a lot of dwellings this round, which they have. You know, they're kind of lacking workers to do, actually. And they also secure D2. So one way or another, getting D2 ahead of Mermaids or Alchemists here does look like it'll secure them connection. They've got a lot of options now for shipping up this way. They can end up doing a land bridge if they need to, assuming they get to D3. I guess essentially they either need D3 or D4 unless they end up needing to get A9, something like that. So engineers have at least locked up their connection more or less. Everyone else is pretty much just building out their dwellings. Yeah, right. So engineers are on 2 ships, so there's no rush for them to get over to the west. Those hexes are pretty safe. So they're going to secure A7 and presumably C6 here. And we see alchemists continue to just have a monster economy. This is ridiculous. So Clabo's got all but one of his dwellings on the board. And he's sitting on 9 workers here. If I'm Clabo here, let's think this through. Let me get this view right here. Alright, if I'm Clabo here on Alchemists, sitting on 9 workers, he's got dwellings he can build this round. In order to do that, he needs to free up. Yeah, okay, so we do see a hard dig from mermaids up in the northwest. Makes a lot of sense. He's angling for a town up there. That can help him with greatest distance. Potentially? Probably not really. And he'll eventually have neighbors. So for alchemists here, it looks like they're going to have the longest round by a mile. So in order to build out more dwellings, he's down to just 1 more dwelling on his board. So if he wants to take advantage of the dwelling score in this round, he's going to have to build trading posts. I imagine we'll see a temple from Clabo, and maybe he doesn't really have any other hexes available to him unless he wants a hard dig, and he doesn't have any priest upgrade. Oh, and I was totally wrong. So Clabo passes early. Oh my god, this is insane. He passes early to secure the ship scoring tile again. He's going into the town round with the ability to take a priest first action, upgrade digs twice, and still have, 15 workers to play around with? That's insane. So I guess the one consideration for Clabo is, does he want or need tempo on Water 1? Nobody else has taken Water 1 here. So he's probably in good shape. Alright, so pretty quick, at least time-wise, feels like a pretty quick round 4 here. But everyone built out their dwellings as expected. And everyone's passing here. Nitro's got nothing to do this next turn either. Alright, so it looks like FireX is passing 3rd. He's got a decent-sized economy going now, actually. He's got sitting on 20 coins, 7 workers to start the next round. But his power situation continues to be a little bit rough, which gives engineers dwelling past tile, which they love. So it looks like, let's see, Clabo in first seat. I gotta figure he wants the priest. You want to upgrade those digs, right? He must. I guess the question is, does anyone else want the priest? Which means that Fakirs will have their choice of whatever power action they want. Once again. Yeah, yellow on this map is really nice for Leech. So I imagine Fakirs will want to take double spade here. They definitely want B5 this round if they want a town. D3 also looks pretty good if they do want a second town. Otherwise, they do need to make up points. It might make sense to start flying with some of these spades. All right, so Claybo first action takes Sanctuary for Water 1. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a Water 1 race here, and I don't see how he loses the game now that he's got both scoring favors. So yeah, as expected, Fakir's double dig. They choose not to do a flight. They're securing town space for 2 towns here. They might even be able to hit 2 towns this round. They've got the neighbors for it. They would just need to sanctuary. Yeah, they could sanctuary. Maybe they don't. I don't know if they need fire 2 or not to get it, but I'm not going to do the math right now. They certainly got 2 town spaces locked up. This is, I will say, I'm no strong Fakirs player. This is an atypical Fakirs game, I would say. I mean, I think Dongachode got blocked on a power action or something earlier on. That I think that the stronghold may have been a pivot, if I remember correctly. But the stronghold round 2 for Fakirs is a lot of fun, but you don't usually see it. I guess the other benefit of that stronghold is that he does now. He's got 2 range, so there's a lot of hexes he can reach right now, and more if he manages to secure certainly G7, which looks like it's under threat. But maybe even E9. He's still just 2 digs away from getting down to the use hexes. Alright, so we see the first town go to Mermaids here, who prioritize the town over everything else. I guess he didn't have the power for power action, but prioritized the town over taking Water 1, which there's still 2 copies of available. Just thinking about it, though, I wonder if this is an undo coming or what this think is about. I don't see a reason why he'd down convert. Oh, I see. Okay, so Firex held off on the town. He had actually built that dwelling last round or earlier this round. I'm having trouble keeping track of it all. So founds the town. Wow, that's a cool play. Yeah. Yeah, that's some Chaos Magician magic right there. So Firex founds a town to start his turn. Beginning of this round, takes a Cult Step town for enough power to take the coins action. And now he's sitting on a stack of 27 coins. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Nitro was saying in the chat that he didn't even realize you could found a town before taking a move as mermaids. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right. Yeah, these guys, I don't know if they're playing fast or if I'm talking slow, but I guess they're not playing that fast. It is 9:30. 9:30 Eastern, so it's been about an hour and a half so far. Okay, but let me get caught up here. So what do we have happen? So Claybo finally takes that priest he needs to upgrade digs. He's sitting on a fat stack of workers. It looks like town-wise, Weber was pointing this out earlier in chat, but the G5 stronghold ended up not being part of a town, which was an interesting choice. He had the option to, he built the stronghold round 2 for a really, really strong start. He had the option to go C5, C5, A6, or I8, and he went for C5. So I wonder if there were leech considerations or what was going on there. But we are in a town round, so we got some players cashing in on points here. Fakir's just upgraded to be able to make a town. They already have range from having started with their stronghold here. So they can go for a higher point town. Sitting on a pile of priests. Coin town looks pretty good for them to me right now. It seems like coins are what he's wanted all game. We'll see what he goes for. And he just took a town early this round too. I missed that so far. Didn't talk about that. So they took a worker town. They've been hurting on structures all game, so that should help a lot. And you certainly don't have the potential for a second town this round, but they do have a lot of hex open to them for dwellings, so they can get out 3 more dwellings easy this round. And their score has caught up quite a bit. So yeah, Fakirs do end up taking the coin town here. Ah, you love a late town round. You love to see it. Really satisfying. Nothing's quite like for me at least, nothing's quite like a round 6, like Witch's Town round, where you build Fire 2 to just claim a couple towns all in one move. But we did see a Mermaid's delayed town in order to get them a coins action. That was pretty cool. All right, so we've got a couple of priests going to cults here. So we've got folks fighting over fire, and by fire I mean earth. Excuse me. Makes a lot of sense. Gets them the cult spade. So we've got mermaids getting one cult spade off of earth going to next round. We've got engineers with a pretty clear lead on earth that'll look like an earth win to them for them. And 2 spades, which they do still desperately need. I mean, engineers can always use spades, but okay. And then we've got fakirs continuing to build here in the middle. Whew. All right, so fakirs have an option, which is to upgrade E7 and do a sanctuary for fire 2 to try to get a second 10 out this round. Now they'd have to get a trading post still. So I think they'd have to burn like all of their power and use 2 of their priests for workers. I can't imagine it makes any sense for them. But that's a town possibility. Other than that, I can't even tell what Clabo's capable of here because he has so many resources. He's upgraded digs once. He's about to upgrade them a second time. The bridge is still available this round. So Clabo could be looking at 2 towns. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Nitro and Engineers managed to amass enough power. Did he take a power action early this round? He got enough power one way or another for another dig. So now the map is definitely turning gray here. So he's got A9, C3, E2, C1 all available to him. And actually he's got 4 workers and enough coins to build out those dwellings this round. Although he only has 3 dwellings on his board. So he's dug A9. I wonder if he's considering whether to just throw down the landscape. I guess the benefit of he's saying it won't let me put my landscape down. That's strange. I don't know why that would be. So I guess the benefit of the landscape is the benefit of the landscape is it seems like a good play to be here, which obviously he's a very good player. I think it's a he. Nitro, they're a really strong player. So A9 is maybe the last regular dig that Nitro will... Oh, we got some technical issues. All right, we'll let them sort that out. Hopefully that works out. A9 is maybe the last regular dig that Engi's going to do this game, which means for network considerations, that's the only time they can get a landscape down. Now they're going to get 2 cult digs off of at the end of this round, but he's not going to be able to put down the landscape with those. So it makes a lot of sense because you can't bridge from there. Oh, interesting. Okay. Just when you think you figured out all the rules of this game, there are more. So it won't let... Wow, okay, so FireX with the deep rules knowledge here. Because A9 is not land bridgeable, if that makes any sense as an adjective. Oh, that's a damn shame. Looked like a really good play. Huh, okay, sorry to say it more clearly, because I don't think I really did that. A9 is not a hex on which you could build a bridge from one hex to another hex via land. And since the engineer's landscape is exactly that. It allows you to build a bridge from the hex that you put the landscape on over land instead of over water. It apparently is illegal. It won't let you place that. So that's a real bummer. So that might actually hurt Nitro in terms of long-term network considerations here, particularly against, I guess, alchemists. Fakir's network doesn't look too strong at this point. Yeah, that's rough. I thought it was a clever play. So we'll see. I mean, I think he's got second place on network probably locked up either way, but it is a bummer to not get another structure out this round. Wow, okay, so Claybo bridges to H7. He's got the workers to triple dig it, so that makes perfect sense. So he'll get one town there, and he's going to have at least enough to get a second town over here. So I think we might see 3 triple digs from Claybo on H7 and H3 this round. Because if he manages to cut through here, he'll get access to the whole western half of the map. Admittedly, a lot of the black hexes have already evaporated. I guess Claybo can just go I3, I2 instead. That's probably strictly better. He already has the neighbors he needs. Alright, so we see a hard dig from FireXed on C2. Is that what happened? Yeah. So mermaids are eyeing up C2. It doesn't look like they've got enough juice to get a town this round. They already did score 1 town this round. But I guess he wanted to secure that hex. Alright, well, quick check-in. So Claybo's got 2 towns coming. He's got the pick of the litter here. There's no towns that have had all their copies taken. So I don't know if he needs more workers or if he is just going to go for priest towns, kind of get the points there. He's still sitting on only 1 building that produces priests, so I think a priest town probably looks pretty good for him here. Wow, okay, and Dongachot does build a trading post on E6. He must be thinking he wants a temple for water 1 here. We got everyone building dwellings everywhere, so we got a lot of... Oh, interesting. Okay, so engineers take F6. I didn't see that. He's got a little bit more access now. Wow, Engies really are just everywhere now. Alright, so there's that triple dig by Claybo as promised. I wonder if he needs Fire 2 to score these. It looked like he had a lot of... to score these towns this round. It looked like he had a ton of workers, but... they have evaporated pretty quickly. Alright, so let's see if this is a temple. It's a costly temple, if it is. No, I guess he's just building the trading post because that's what he's got the resources to do. Oh, you know what? And he is sitting on the trading post cast tile. I don't know, this game for Fakirs, maybe it'll surprise me, but it looks like he's hurting a little bit. So, quick checking in on the points. We've got 3 players sitting on bonus tiles going into the last round. The last round doesn't look super high scoring, at least in terms of the scoring track. And we've got mermaids and engineers right now sitting on low 70s, 73. Actually, we've got both with 73 points, and then Fakirs and alchemists both on 59 points. Alchemists look to have a lot more points pouring in over the course of the next 2 rounds. This round in particular. Next round's going to be a lot of favorite tile points and a couple temple points, I think. But Fakirs, I think, need a little bit of help. Alright, so we see a temple for Air 1 by engineers to end the round. He's sitting on 1 trading post right now and no resources. But he's already got water 1, so that makes sense. I think he's just looking to score in all the ways he can. So Claybo takes a worker town. Makes a lot of sense. He did just use up a lot of workers. So it looks like he's got 5 workers remaining and enough power to take maybe 2 more. if he gets a little bit more leech. He could also hard convert 1. So that's what? 2 workers for 2 trading posts. So that's 4 workers. 5, 6, 7. He would need 8 workers to finish this town without fire. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 workers. Now, I don't know if he's got a second town in him this round, unless I'm missing something. Maybe he doesn't want it anyways. He's got town whenever he wants. Anyways, Claypo's position looked really dominant, but just taking a peek now, I mean, he's got pass points. I imagine he's playing out his tempo so that he'll get more points on the pass next round as well. But his position doesn't look quite as dominant to me as it did a couple rounds ago. He will have a really strong distance scoring. It looks like he's going to be on, if he manages to cut his way across this western landmass, he'll probably beat mermaids to I1, because mermaids have other priorities and limited workers. And mermaids have actually burnt down to 4 power as well. I missed that. I think they probably did that when they took the coins action this round. So Claybo as Alchemist does have a long distance of A10 to I1, or A11 to I1, which is, I don't know how many spaces that is, I'm not going to count them, but it's too short of the maximum. If Fakirs are A12 to G1, that is... Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay. I think Dongachod's saying that he gifted Nitro the trading post pass tile. That is pretty good for engineers. I'm curious to see how they finish their game here. They're really hurting on workers, on coins. But it does look like Fakirs could use more digs here to get where they're going, right? They need at least 1 dig to reach these hexes on the southeast, unless they get to 3 flying distance. Anyways, more musing about Claybo's game, because I think it's a really interesting Alchemist game, and it looked really dominant to start, although the points don't quite reflect that at this stage. He was the 40 faction, and he did get a really strong start. So he was up by about 15 points on the next best faction to start the game. It looks like we still have a couple folks watching and in chat. If anyone has any thoughts on who's winning this game, I could sure use some help. I feel pretty confident Fakirs are not looking the strongest here. Mermaids do have the ship scoring pass tile available to them, and a lot of resources going into the last round. Looks like they'll be able to pull off 1 more town. But their big problem is I don't see them connecting. I mean, G7's available for a double dig if they're able to take it, but they're hurting for workers. They don't even have the spades for it. Right now, if I had to guess, I would say Alchemists are still edging out Engineers. And they still have a town coming too. Yeah, I think Alchemists still have this pretty handily. Mermaids are going to have to get creative in a way that I don't fully see happening, because they're not even connected. I mean, they're a clear last on network and in greatest distance here, unless they manage to connect these 2 structures over in the east, which I don't see happening. In any case, Fakirs to start of the round with a coins action. Seems good. They've got a lot of resources now. So this round they've got the ability to town up in the middle if they choose to. They can take a sanctuary. I guess they would be taking Water 1's still available. I don't know if that's any good for them. Air 1's also available. I know they want to make their way over to G1 to try to secure some good distance here. And you know what? Engineers have managed to get a pretty long distance here with G10 available and C1 to them with this dig. I think that's where they probably put their Cult Spade, which I'm realizing I did not discuss earlier. So Engineers Cult Spaded G10 E1, and it looks like mermaids with their 1 cult spade, spaded A1. So I guess one way or another, mermaids needed A1 for the town, but I wonder if he's still got his eye on distance here. I just don't see him digging his way out. I guess he's close to the single spade. We'll see what happens. Claybo takes workers, makes a lot of sense. Or he's just still sitting on so many resources, isn't he? And then mermaids take a priest. So gotta figure mermaids are worried about one thing, which is upgrading shipping. They're sitting on a ton of coins in the ship pass tile, so they're gonna really try to leverage that to score. So with 29 coins, I don't even know what all that gets them, but they should have no problem forming a town up here in the northwest. With or without Fire 2. I mean, Fire 2 could be pretty good. That avoids an expensive trading post or 2. And it helps them out on fire, which all the free spots are currently locked up. So I imagine with their town, they'll take a priest so that they can get to 5 ship, unless they do something fancy like Stronghold on C2 to secure that town. But we'll see. One way or another, I think Fire X is looking at pretty much 1 town, 3 ship upgrades, 15 pass points from those ship upgrades sitting on the ship tile, and maybe building out some more dwellings here for some points, although I don't even know what hexes are available. But sort of sorely lacking for endgame points here. Let's check in on the network race. So Fakirs are actually already sitting on 12 network. They take Fire 2, and there goes the 2 key town. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's pretty. Okay, so Fakirs now have, I don't know if it's good. It's got to be pretty good, right? So Fakirs now have a pretty, they've won air. I don't see any world in which they don't win air. And they've got a pretty dominant lead on fire as well. So 2 cult wins for Fakirs is really cool. I mean, I gotta hand it to you, Dongachot. This was a really cool game. I'm curious to see where the points end up. And the power situation just continues to be great. I feel like every time I look down at Fakir's power kernels, they've got like a full bowl. They got a lot of options, or very near. And Claybo's got, okay, Claybo's taking a temple here. Obviously, it's a temple round. Takes Fire 2. Takes Fire 3. Wow. Okay. Yeah, and it looks like the 1-step town's still available, so Claybo will have the opportunity to potentially close out fire. Well, that's a bummer for Fakirs. But okay, Temple for Fire 3, so I'm sure he's calced out what he's got available. With 13 workers, I'm sure he can finish another town. Secure I1 for a pretty long distance. I think that wins it, actually. I'll do the count soon, when I stop getting distracted by everything else to pay attention to. And Fakirs will also have, so Fakirs will have enough to finish a town, get the great distance, and then build out a lot more structures to continue competing on network. Their network does look a little bad here, though. I mean, they've got a ton of workers, yeah, and there's I3. He doesn't have any more open dwellings, so he's gotta secure I2, which shouldn't really be an issue. Anyways, all right, checking in on network, checking in on greatest distance, because with the expansion scoring on, there is a lot of endgame scoring coming in this game, and it doesn't look like a terribly high-scoring game at the moment. I guess the temples this last round certainly aren't helping in that regard. So engineers sitting on 6 workers, not that many coins, and whew, they even have another town. I don't think they do. With E3 by Fakirs, I don't think they do. So regardless of lack of town, engineers are going to need to upgrade their shipping to 3 to make it around this bend. And then they're down to 4 structures on their board now. They should have no trouble getting down to... I mean, they've got the hexes available for 3 more dwellings. They may have enough to get down to... they may have enough to get down to 3 structures left on their board. Or maybe even 2. So it looks like engineers are winning network here, unless alchemists have something to say about it. And they're sitting on 88 points right now. Claybo, however, is scoring with everything that he builds. He's got Earth 1 and Water 1 on alchemists here. And he's got another town coming. And he's got, I think, greatest distance locked up. He's got 2 less than the max here from A10 to I1. Engineers are C1 to G10, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 short of the max. Oh, that's spicy. Wow. Okay. So for Kiers, double dig I1 to lock up the longest possible distance. They decline build on the dwelling for now. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to get more leech or more information, but they have that hex available to them to build, and that definitely locks in greatest distance for them. From all the way from A12 to I1 here. Mermaids are not getting any network points or any distance points, but here comes the town, which they can take a 9-point priest town and upgrade their shipping 3 times. And that pretty much does it for them. They've got some cult points, I guess. They've got first, a second, and a third, maybe 2/3. Don't think it's going to be enough. Fakirs do build this dwelling. So Fakirs ended up making it through this game with no scoring favorite tiles. I actually didn't fully process that till right now, which has certainly hurt their final score. They got a decent number of flights in, but I don't see this happening for them either. They're trailing by a lot of points, and despite getting the 18 points for greatest distance, and I guess they've got about 4 resource points here as well. It's a lot of coins. Decent cult presence. I don't see it happening for them either, which means it is between alchemists and engineers here for the win. Both of whom would win the division, the whole season, if they won this game. So certainly the pressure's on a little bit here for Claybo and Nitro. So Nitro does have to upgrade shipping. Yeah, this is just Claybo by a mile, isn't it? Doing math on stream doesn't feel very fun, but I guess it would have given me a little better of a sense of these positions. So yeah. All right, so players are pretty much just finishing up here. Claybo ended up taking the one cult step town, which gets him second place on. It will notably get some first place on fire, but actually gets some second place on water as well. That's a really nice looking town for him as well. Nitro builds out 1 more dwelling. We'll end the game with 3 structures left on his board, which should be good for the network win. 1 better than Fakir's. Sorry for all the scrolling. And has just enough resources to upgrade shipping the 3rd time here. and Claybo's got 5 workers. Beats me if I know what he's doing with them. I guess, can he get out 2 more dwellings? He can get out 2 more dwellings. 3 more dwellings, actually. Which would give him 15. That would tie him for the network win. Wow, yeah, Claybo's game looks great here. GG's going all around. FireX says he regrets not jumping on Alchemist. Yeah, a little bit of a rough season for FireX here. really strong player, but a couple of games had a couple of bad breaks. I mean, I think I was responsible for at least one of those. Some um, lack of map familiarity and some like atypical starting placements. It's tough when the bidding is based around something that you don't. When something happens with starting placements or bonus tiles in the first round and you don't expect it if you bid on it otherwise. And in this game, Alchemist's digging G9 I think hurt a lot here. I guess the F7 starting placement for Mermaids was atypical and it sounded like a little bit questionable based on some of the higher level players in chat talking. But um, but that's one town less. That's two hexes less available to him. And if he gets those dwellings out, his economy probably booms a little bit better. I don't remember what else he had going on, but I think he was hurting for dwellings. Could have gotten down to I6, maybe F5 and connected. I think his game does look a lot better without G9. But he left it hanging, so that does happen sometimes. So Claybo's just building out A10 here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think that has any impact on greatest distance. I think that it's still clearly Fakir's in first place, Engineers in second place. Oh, you know what? I guess Alchemists can dig I2 to tie Engineers. Yeah. Alchemists can build I2 to tie Fakirs on greatest distance. Yeah, so Claybo can tie Nitro on, I think he can tie Nitro on greatest distance and on overall network. So that'll be 15 points for each of those. Both Claybo and Nitro are passing for a lot of points here. Oh, and Claybo takes B6. Okay. Well, that's another hex he could have taken. I don't know. I'm not sure the strategic implications of that, but he knows what he's doing. Alright, so FireX advanced the shipping again, and it looks like he actually has enough to 1, 2, 3, 4. He has enough resources on hand to build one more dwelling on I5. And that doesn't get him connection, but it does it's points, and he needs points. Alright, so Claybo actually spends a priest to go up air and claim second place there. Yeah, I was saying it at the beginning of the game, but the cults did look pretty wide open here. Claybo really seems to be have exploited that really well. I mean, he's got 3 priests to cults total, and he managed 1 first place, 2 second places, and a tie for third, if I'm not mistaken. And that priest air did give him enough power to take the workers as well. Now he digs I9. So he will get to 14 network. I'm not sure why B6 and I9 in particular. I believe I2 would have gotten him tied on greatest distance. But I also believe he's winning this by a decent margin anyways. All right, so here's the grand tallying. Final scores coming in. Thanks to everyone who watched here. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any feedback or any final thoughts on the game, definitely throw them in chat. This is my first time streaming, so unclear whether it's something I'll continue doing, but it's been fun. It's been fun trying to keep up with these players here, and this has been an interesting game too. A couple of interesting twists and turns here. Yeah, a little bit of a bummer of a game for Dongachot here. All right, the greatest distance scoring's coming in. GG's all around. You love to see it. And resource scoring. So yeah, as expected, Alchemists take the win. Engineers with a really close second though, 146. Not sure where that lands them uh, in the final standings. I think Claybo has with this game has won the league, and Nitro has come in second. I know Claybo's won the league. Um, a really good game. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. And anyone who's watching the VOD, I hope you enjoyed this. And huge congrats to Claybo for the win here. So this secures him a spot in Division One next season, unless his elo continues going up and he managed to place himself in Premier League based on that. So we'll see. All right, take care, everyone. See you next time.